You know what three things I fear the most? Delayed flights, delayed video games, and delayed periods. In all seriousness, it seems nowadays that a major video game publisher will announce a release date for their latest and greatest video game, only to delay it 2 or 3 times. At this point, delays have become so frequent that they basically have become a meme. Makes you really wonder if these publishers only announce a release date they know they won't be able to meet in order to create hype, then disappointment, and eventually hype again. It basically sounds like emotional abuse at this point. Hold on, are we in an abusive relationship with video games? Nah, that can't be true, man. Because if that was true, I would have been able to stop playing video games a long time ago, and I would have started a family by now. It's become a fairly accepted notion that delayed games, although a nuisance, are a great opportunity for publishers to polish and put out great games. However, as we lean closer to total destruction of our humanity, delays usually mean crunch time for video game developers. Just a couple of years ago, there were reports of Rockstar overworking their developers in order to release Red Dead Redemption 2 on time. It was reported that Rockstar worked their developers to the point that there was a whole movement calling for their fair treatment of workers, and it even gave the publisher some really undesired PR. Now, even though the complaints didn't come directly from Rockstar developers, and they mostly came from news outlets who picked up the story after news broke out on Rockstar's co-founders' comments about employees working 100-hour work weeks, this is still definitely not something you want your video game company known for. Anyways, as of the recording of this video, we've recently got news that at least 3 major video games have been delayed. You got remake number 3067 delayed for another month. You got the Marvel game people like to think they care about. And we have the only game we're all really upset about being delayed. Yes, I'm talking about that video game. So, in order to keep this video relevant and make it basically irrelevant in 2 months' time, I'm gonna look at a few of the most historical delays of video games throughout history. First on our list of delayed video games, it's actually a video game whose delay caused a whole console's release to be delayed. The audacity. Super Mario 64, the crowning achievement and trend-setting masterpiece from Shigeru Miyamoto, started development 5 years prior to its 1996 release. Miyamoto actually came up with the idea of a 3D Mario game during the development of Star Fox for the SNES. The initial idea would use the Super Effects chip used for Star Fox to create a 3D Mario game in which the world would be entirely miniature. Super Mario was planned to be released alongside the N64, but Miyamoto found himself actually delaying the game to continue working on it. Nintendo had so much confidence invested in Miyamoto that they actually delayed the release of the N64 from Christmas 1995 to April 1996. Super Mario 64 was expected to be such an important release that they actually delayed a whole ass console for 4 months. That's some big dick energy if you ask me. Here we go! Another game that had a fairly infamous delay was Valve's very own Team Fortress 2. This game was initially inspired from a free mod made for Quake back in 1996. The 2 creators of the mod were employed by Valve, and thus in 1998 the development of the game began. Unfortunately, this also marked the start of a 9-year development phase filled with changed designs, delays, and a myriad of engine changes. The game was first announced at E3 1999 and with a very different design to the one we're used seeing. The game was first designed with realistically looking graphics and with the players looking like literal soldiers. After this initial 1999 announcement, the game would then enter a 6-year development silence that would then make it into one of the industry's most famous cases of vaporwave. The game would later be released in October of 2007. As much as I believe Miyamoto's most famous words are to be true, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad, that isn't always the case. And the industry's longest running delayed joke is the perfect example of a delayed game that doesn't always turn out to be good. Duke Nukem Forever was first announced in April of 1997, a year after the initial release of its predecessor, Duke Nukem 3D. The development announcement was apparently a promotional stunt to incite interest in the game. After a continued flurry of promotional material, the game would then be announced to be released when it's done by the developer 3D Realms. And by this statement, you can probably guess what happened next. The game would become another case of vaporwave and not be mentioned again until December of 2007. In 2009, 3D Realms was downsized, and just to add insult to injury, they were eventually sued by Take-Two Interactive, who were the game's initial publisher. Imagine that. After 12 years of working on a game, all you got to show is a lawsuit. Duke Nukem Forever would not be released worldwide until June 10th, 2011. After 15 years of being in development, a true teenage queen. Now, whether you agree or not that delayed games give developers a great opportunity to further polish their game, or that you think that developers should not announce a game until it's ready for actual release, I honestly think that delayed games in the greater sense of things are something good. They not only give developers the opportunity to make better games and to really give consumers what they really want. I really think delayed games show a sense of care from publishers, that they really care about how their games look and how their games play. Because at the end of the day, video games are a very complicated thing to produce. It's a miracle that any game is made. With so many moving parts, it just becomes a miracle once a game is published. But I don't know, you tell me. Do you think delayed games should not be the norm in today's industry? Or do you really not care waiting a few more months for what will be essentially a great game? And yes, I'm talking about Animal Crossing. We got knees, you guys. We finally got knees. Anyways, I've been True Fernie. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, give it a downvote. Every bit helps. Links to my socials are down below. I've been True Fernie. Please take care of each other. But most importantly, take care of yourself. Peace.